I had a motorcycle accident. Christ is the ideal man. Told that if I don't go, my arms will be broken, my legs will be broken. The ideology of the group is better than myself.
All right, Alex. So we met at Venture Church, right? Is that the first time that we met? Not that last weekend, but
Yeah,
it was sometime before then.
I think I met you freshman year, actually.
Freshman year?
Yeah, with Cody Reffel.
When was your freshman year?
2022.
I wasn't down here 2022.
You weren't? No.
I don't think so. Maybe late. When did I move here? 2023?
I don't know. Why are you looking at me?
I don't know. I've met you.
When we met? Oh, yeah, no, it was fall of 20.
It was last summer I moved down
Last
here.
summer, okay.
Yeah.
Then it might have been sophomore year. Because I remember meeting you before this summer.
Have you shown up to any of the Chi Alpha stuff before the summer?
No, never.
Where
showed
would
up
we have
to-
met?
I think it was with Cody somewhere.
Crazy.
Yeah, but I
Okay,
don't
cool.
remember where. But
Back when I had hair.
Back when you had hair. I love the new cut though.
Thank you.
Looking good.
I meant to take off my glasses for the shoot here.
Oh.
Oops. Exposed. Yeah, I shaved off the neck beard for the first time ever.
Yeah.
I want to try and grow it out, even though it's still gross and patchy, just to see if I can pull it off even a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I really want a beard. I want to be the jacked, bald, bearded guy. That's the look I'm going for.
I feel you. The lumberjack vibe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, I love the idea of facial hair, but I just can't grow it.
None at all?
No, I can do pedophile stubble.
Hey,
That's
yo.
about it.
Okay, cool.
I just don't have the genetics for it.
I don't think I've met anybody other than my siblings who have this, but it's where all of my hair is on the sides,
You have
and then
the
I have
corners?
no hair down the middle of the chin.
That's actually what mine does too. It's just like
Really?
right on the corners, kind of down the sideburns, and a little on the mustache. But
Maybe someday we'll both have beards.
maybe.
The dream.
The dream.
So you're friends with a lot of the Chi Alpha people. Have you ever attended Chi Alpha?
I've never attended a actual Wednesday night, but yeah, like you said, I'm friends with a ton of Chi Alpha people. I met Bryant Vakem and Maddie Eidson my first year. They were on the tower with me.
And then you bumped into Cody?
Bumped into Cody. He was on the same floor as me.
Nice.
We had fun. The entire 8th floor was a vibe, but yeah, never attended a Wednesday night.
Cody's going back to the 8th floor as an RA.
Yeah, he was telling me about that.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be so much fun.
Yeah, I'm sure it's gonna be cool for him. Do you think you'd ever come to a Wednesday night?
Probably, definitely. Now that I've been told that if I don't go, my arms will be broken, my legs will be broken,
Okay, cool.
and things like that. I feel like I should show up at least once.
Just to layer it on, I'll gouge out your eyes if you don't come to Chi Alpha. Yeah, maybe you can join my life group.
Join your life group.
I'm gonna be a facilitator this year. Gonna be crazy.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure.
All right, no pressure.
Okay.
You don't have to. But you might wake up bald.
Not the worst way to go, I guess.
So you're a college student at the University of Idaho, right?
Yes.
So what do you do? What's your major?
So what do? I cry a lot every day.
Good stuff.
But my major is mechanical engineering. And with that, I'd kind of like to go into like an assistive robotics field. So that's my job this summer, is designing and building exoskeletons for stroke rehabilitation.
Are you doing that with Cody?
With Cody, yeah.
Oh, cool, dude. Okay. He took us into your guys' lab.
Oh, did he?
Is that the same? Like, you walk in, there's a big blue robot.
blue
machine.
robot,
Oh,
yeah.
that's your room?
Yep.
That's so cool, dude. I was gawking at the whole time walking around there. It's you walk in, to your left, there's a 3D printer printing like carbon.
Yeah.
What is it?
So it's like a $15,000 printer, and it prints this nylon filament called onyx, and then it lays down actual strands of carbon fiber in between the layers. And so the prints that come off of it are nigh indestructible.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Carbon fiber, at least I've always known it to be close to indestructible, right? It's supposed to be really strong.
It's tough material for a composite. For what it is, it definitely has its weak points. Like the device that we're building right now, some of the structural rods are carbon fiber, and the problem that we ran into with them during one of our testings was torque. We had a singular rod running along, and they would attach to your arm here.
Yeah.
But it ran on the side of your arm, so all the force of your arm was going a little bit off to the side and was torquing that rod like a wrench. And it just snapped. So carbon fiber is definitely strong in a lot of applications, but it does have its weak points as well.
It snaps. It's brittle.
It's very brittle. Yeah.
Gotcha. Crazy, dude. So that whole machine then, it doesn't exist anywhere else. The big blue one, at least, right?
No.
Cody was saying that there's no funding for it right now?
Yeah, we're trying to get, the entire lab's trying to get grants for it to proceed with testing and gather data for what we call proprioception. But yeah, right now funding's a little low for all the projects.
What brought you into doing mechanical engineering?
So I was actually on my high school robotics team up in Bonners Ferry, the redneck town of Idaho, one of many.
Yeah, that's right. I call it an incest town.
The incest town? Oh, thankfully, we don't have any of that.
No, really?
Really?
I would challenge that.
Would you?
Yeah, any town in Idaho that's smaller than 10,000 people. I don't know how populated Bonners Ferry is.
Over 2,000.
Okay, yeah, incest town, dude. For sure, big time. If it's below anything of 10,000, it's usually out in the woods somewhere, and people. They all have a certain reputation for all sorts of fun stuff. People
over there.
They're people. They're family people. Amen.
2,865.
2,865? Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what it says on the sign going into town. But honestly, the community over there is really nice. It's all great Christian community. There are a couple people who do look like they kind of multiplied from the same gene pool a couple times, but
amen, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Growing up in Bonners Ferry would be fun. And your story though?
Yeah, high school robotics. So there was
robotics in high school?
Yes.
I don't know if I even had that.
Thankfully, actually, it started in middle school actually, because there was a team in middle school that did the old Lego Mindstorms, and there was national competitions called First Lego League that got ages or grades 6th through 8th, and you would join a team and you would build these Lego Mindstorm robots to complete different challenges. And so I did that for a couple of years, loved it, and then the mentors of that team were like, hey, you should join the high school team.
Cool.
And I was like, okay, cool. So I joined the high school team, did that for 4 to 5 years, and on that team had lots of great experiences, learned a lot of stuff. I learned how to use CAD software,
What is that?
Computer-aided design. So you take, like if I took that coffee cup right there and said, okay, I want to make a digital model of that in the computer, I could do it in that software.
And I could do that in like Blender.
It's kind of like Blender.
Just 3D modeling.
Just 3D modeling.
Oh, cool.
It's just called computer-aided design, and it's less of a headache than Blender.
Okay, nice.
Because like Blender, you have all these meshes and nodes and crap like that. No, it's like you have shapes and tools, and you can create different shapes, and then you can either positively add material or negatively subtract material and just create different objects through stuff like that.
Cool, just basic sculpting.
Basic sculpting, yep.
So that was through high school?
That was through high school, and then I also did CNC machining and other just building things. We built some pretty impressive robots. One of the robots had to climb monkey bars that were like stair-stepped. So it was here, and then here.
Whoa. Okay.
And so
cool.
you had to reach up, grab, then reach up, grab, then reach up, grab, and not fall off.
Like these are competitions in high school?
Yep. So high schoolers ages 14 through 18. We're building these massive robots. They're like 3 feet by 3 feet by
That's
4
awesome.
feet sometimes. And yeah, we welded them ourselves. We built everything ourselves, programmed them ourselves.
Just in your garage?
It was actually in a little used to be the old wood shop at the middle school in Bonners Ferry.
That's super cool. There was nothing like that at Post Falls High School.
Yeah.
Nothing at all, dude.
I thought there was a team there used to be a team in Coeur d'Alene. I know that.
That makes sense. Post Falls is just the suburbs of Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that Coeur d'Alene would have all the cool stuff. My brother did a NASA competition where they had to build a little robot, a little rover. Really? But that was through a club.
Gotcha.
Or something other than actual high school.
Yeah.
So that's super cool to have a robots thing. What were other things that people had to make? Any battle robots?
I wish. Battle robots, we always talked about it. Like, oh, it'd be so cool to go do battle bots. Even now, with the club I started at University of Idaho, we were talking like, oh, let's go do battle bots. But
you started a club?
Yeah. So Cody, myself, and a couple of our other friends started a club.
That's awesome. What does that even entail?
Yeah. So like starting the club or what our club does? What does your club do, first of all? Yeah, so we're called the ENGR Club. It stands for Engineering, Networking, Guidance, and Resources. Cody gets credit for that name.
You guys are nerds.
He had a big brain moment and birthed that amazing acronym. But what we want to do is take all of the engineering disciplines and make a community. Because the problem that I recognized and then just kind of talked to my friends about and they agreed was like, hey, we have all of these clubs here. Like if you go to Palooza Fest at University of Idaho, you see so many clubs just lining 6th Street, so many clubs. But all of the clubs under the College of Engineering are either dead, like they don't do anything, or they have no direction with what they're trying to do, or they're just extremely hard to get involved with. And I say this from a mechanical engineering side, so I'm not too sure about like chemical engineering or electrical engineering, their clubs or anything like that. I know IEEE is active and is doing good, but from a more mechanical side, I tried to join ASME my first year, and there was like one meeting, and the advisor was just kind of like, okay, guys, please, somebody step up and give this club a direction. And then I joined Vandal Robotics first year as well. That was an amazing club, but second year they lost all direction. And so we started this club knowing that we wanted to be active in the community and bring together multiple disciplines. Because in the real world, you're never going to be by yourself, right? You're never going to be a one-man team. You need to work with electrical engineers, chemical engineers, whoever else, business majors.
Or John.
Sure. No, just kidding. But you need to know how to network, how to work with other people, and how to build a community. And so our goal is to build community within the College of Engineering through fun and engaging events.
Cool.
And so last semester, our first event was a Mythbusters night where we provided popcorn, provided soda, and we just watched like a Mythbusters episode in one of the big lecture halls.
Yeah, there you go.
And that brought together a lot of people. We had a lot of fun. And we hope to continue doing that stuff this semester and have even more events.
Cool, dude. Is that not stressful?
Yes, it is. Very stressful because you have to, plan the event. Like, okay, how many people are going to have, all this fun stuff. Where are we going to have the event? How are we going to get materials for the event? We're trying to do that right now with Palooza Fest. We're trying to figure out how, A, we're going to staff our event, B, what are we going to do, C, what are the prizes going to be, and all that stuff. But
you guys are being leaders.
We are.
What do you think a leader is?
That is a good question. And I have a story first for that.
Okay, rad.
Last semester, I had the opportunity to take a leadership and innovation course at the University of Idaho. It was a seminar course, 1 day a week, taught by one of my favorite professors, J.J. Peterson. Shout out to J.J. Peterson. Love that guy. And that course was incredible. What it was pretty much is he invited people who were successful in innovation and leadership in engineering fields and invited them to come give a talk and tell us about innovation, give us guidelines on stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I did for almost every speaker, I didn't do everyone, was ask, what are 3 traits, in your opinion, that make a leader? And so it's actually a great question because I have a lot of good answers for that one. The common 3 traits that they said, Dr. Schweitzer of Schweitzer Engineering Labs had one of my favorite ones, grit. First of all, you need grit because things are not going to go as planned, right? A good plan only is a plan until it hits the battlefield. I'm sure that's not a direct quote, but I know it's a quote somewhere. But you need
quoted
grit. Quoted by
Abraham Lincoln,
someone. Deep fake, who cares nowadays?
Albert Einstein said that one.
Grit is one good one. You also need integrity. Integrity, knowing that the people, or letting the people you are leading know that they can trust you is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
And caring for the goals of the people you are leading more than the goals of yourself. So like if I'm with the ENGR club, I'll use that as an example of that one. Like as the officers, we care about seeing the people, the members of our club, we care about seeing what they want to happen more than what we want to happen, right? Because in the end, they're the ones that matter for our organization, not what we want, right? But yeah, so what makes a good leader? Grit, integrity, and I guess there was a word for that one, but I forgot it. Summer has a way of doing that to your brain, grit, integrity, and caring for the ones, caring for the needs. Empathy.
Is that the word?
I think so.
That's the real word?
Empathy.
Oh, sick. All right, cool.
Yes.
Cool, dude. Rad. So you know Jesus, right?
Yes.
What do you think? You, Cody, and then who else is leading the club?
So me, Cody, Mason, and Owen. I don't know if you know them or not. No.
Nope.
No, they're really good guys.
Also doing the prosthetics?
No. Mason's here in Moscow. And then Owen is down in Boise.
Cool, dude. So you know Jesus. How do you think that affects your relationship with him?
With the other officers?
With the JC upstairs, I guess. Or, well... Yeah.
Yeah?
How does the... taking up that leadership role, do you think you're glorifying God? I don't know if that question makes sense.
I think I get where you're going at. Like, how does the leadership role give glory to God? Kind of stuff like that?
I guess. Or how do you think... I don't know. Well, first, I guess, that was a terrible segue. Let's just... how is your relationship with God? Or maybe I can back it up even. I want to hear your testimony.
My testimony. Ooh. So I guess I'll give you my story. I don't really have a testimony yet.
Oh, okay.
So my walk is still developing.
Okay.
There was a time I was raised Christian, homeschool Christian. I've been told I've turned out pretty normal for a homeschooler.
Yes. I think I told you that last time I saw you at church.
Quite possibly. Possibly. So yeah, raised Christian, but when I was a teenager, I just got sick of it. Just, constant. To me, it seemed like there was just constant shoving of it down my throat. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, I'm done.
Super fair.
So I went away for a while from Christ and stuff like that. But recently coming back to college, I've met Cody, Bryant, Maddie, and other people from Chi Alpha, and I was like, hey, this is feeling like it's a good direction.
Yeah.
So I started going back to church. I went to Real Life for a while. That was my main one down in Moscow. And then this year switched over to Venture with Cody. And yeah, so from freshman year, started redeveloping that relationship and started trying to build it, build that walk. So yeah, we're still walking. We're still figuring things out.
I only gave my life to Christ last year, July 24th.
Really?
So it's been roughly only 1 year.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's I don't know everything, but I feel like I can relate to having it shoved down your throat and or just feeling like, because growing up, I grew up in a Christian household, except my dad was actually a pastor.
Really?
But he was a hypocrite. I love my dad. He is forgiven. I called him on Father's Day for the first time in many years.
Yeah.
This last Father's Day. There's been a lot of development and growth in my family. Praise God. But back then, still now, he's kind of a narcissistic manipulator, right? Ended with my parents' divorce when I was 12. And me and all my siblings, as my father... being a narcissist, right, and a pastor, his image was very important. And so we were his image, like bearers, if you will. So we had to perform in a certain way. And it was a lot of do as I say, not as I do. So there wasn't any respect, I guess, at least from me as a 12-year-old listening to him, right?
Yeah.
So I had to live a good Christian life because otherwise it would make my dad look bad. Yeah, so I definitely feel that. So all my siblings and I, we kind of separated ourselves from Christianity growing up after, he left the picture kind of thing. I only didn't shut the door on it completely because my mom is phenomenal, right? She also claimed to represent Jesus just like my dad, but she was different. She really did show the love of Christ. Yeah. Yeah. So super cool, dude.
Yeah, I never shut the door completely either. I knew that there was a creator. We were created, not just spawned into being.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so. So yeah, I never completely shut the door on it either. Always had a Christian mindset when it comes to scientific ideologies or more.
Can I ask why?
It makes sense in my mind.
I think so too.
Like it makes sense. And I found a quote from Albert Einstein, or not Albert Einstein, sorry, C.S. Lewis.
He's a good one.
Confused.
What?
Albert Einstein and C.S. Lewis. Whatever.
Never mind. They're basically the same person.
Them and Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, definitely.
Triplets.
I don't remember exactly how the quote goes, but it said things along the lines of, if you really analyze the world around you and look at, how freaking amazing like science is, trees,
how complex
it is,
and yet how seamless it all works.
Yes, seamless simplicity, yet deep complex.
It's like continual change, but it all just...
Yeah.
Oh, man. It's so cool.
It is amazing. And yeah, so the quote just says, like, hey, if you look at all this and you still believe that you were not created, you're an idiot. Extreme paraphrasing, right? But that's along the lines of it. And I love that quote.
Then
I wish I remembered it, but...
Then there's the other side that Paul kind of tackles in the Bible, where he talks about how we are the greatest fools, Christians, if Christ did not resurrect.
Yes.
If Christ did not resurrect, then our sins are not forgiven. Who knows what God's doing, if there is a God, right? It's kind of we are the greatest fools then. So it's kind of flip-flopped. It's cool. I like the two different perspectives. I definitely lean more towards the... we are created side of it. So, yeah, it's cool. Even within all the complexity and everything going on, you can still stare at like a sunset and be calmed by it.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, it's impressive. Earth is amazing. I hope we don't move to Mars. But that's
Do you think we can go to Mars?
I think if we set our minds to it, we can do a lot.
What about the moon landing?
The moon land? We've talked about this.
We have?
Yes, you've told me your theories.
Oh, really?
You've told me, yes.
How long did we hang out? I guess it doesn't take long for me to mention the moon landing.
It was the breakfast at Mateo's.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, you've heard me jabble on about my dumb ideas.
Yep.
Cool, good. I don't remember if you believe in it or not.
I think it's interesting. In the end, I don't really care, right? I mean, my life is not going to be affected differently.
Here's the thing. If you did believe in it, you would have said yes already, of course.
See, I do believe in it. I just don't care one way or the other. If that makes
gotcha.
sense.
You're open-minded.
I'm open-minded.
Yeah.
I do believe it happened, but it doesn't matter.
Why do you think it happened?
Why do I think it happened?
Yeah.
I tend to believe historical records. And like, I think talking to the co-founder of SpaceX, I forget his name.
You've talked to him?
He was one of the speakers from our leadership and innovation course.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, talking to that guy, I definitely think it does happen. It did happen. Because it just seems to me too ludicrous to make something up like that.
Here's the thing. You want to believe in the history. What if I told you the history wasn't there?
See, I think
the original tapes are gone?
I think history...
The original technology was supposedly destroyed? There is no history.
Supposedly. But then again, who knows? Maybe they just locked it somewhere and lost it. Like, I tend to put my keys in a very safe spot and forget them.
Joseph Smith and the seven wearing the golden plates.
Just like it.
Yeah.
Just like Joseph Smith. Absolutely. What do you think about Mormons?
What conversation is this?
Fun one, dude.
Fun? Oh, man. So, moon landing or Mormons? Where are we going?
I don't know. Mormons, sure. Why not? How much exposure to Mormons have you gotten? Because in Idaho, it's like, I think Idaho is the second most populous state for Mormons, for Mormonism.
Yeah.
I think it goes Utah, Idaho, something.
I think so. I don't know off the top of my head, but
then so the more south you go in Idaho, the more there are. And so you grew up like as north as you can get in Idaho.
They were still there. There was an LDS church. There is an LDS church in Bonners Ferry. They did missionaries for a while. They stopped coming out to our house from a few clever quips from my father. But coming to Moscow, they have definitely been more pronounced. I got attacked multiple times by missionaries walking home from work this summer. Oh, dude. No, so I was walking home from work.
Like they just throw you on the ground, start kicking you? What do you mean attacked?
I thought it was going to come to that, but like I was walking home from work and it was right on A Street, right out here. And so walking down the sidewalk and there's like parking spots right by the sidewalk. And out of the corner of my eye, I see this vehicle like blare on through and just park a couple feet in front of me and roll the window down. And I'm like, okay, things are about to go down here.
Well, yeah,
because like,
kidnapped.
You know, you've seen that in gangster movies, right? Where they just pull up beside you and start shooting. And so I was like, all right, let's proceed with caution here. And no, it was just two Mormon missionaries, just looking out the window, kind of hanging their heads back, like, hey, can we talk to you? I'm like, all right, at least there's going to be no gunfight, maybe a knife fight yet. I don't know yet. And yeah, they just start talking, asking their questions, and really nice guys. And yeah, definitely did not go the way I thought it was going to go when a vehicle pulled up.
How did the conversation go?
They're like, hey, do you believe? How's your day going? Do you have a moment to share the word of Jesus with you? And I'm like, hey, it's going good. Hope you guys are going good too. I'm Christian. I believe. And they're like, oh, cool. Have you ever heard of the Book of Mormon? I'm like, yes, I have. And they're like, what do you think? I'm like, I think it's not what I believe, but I have multiple friends who are Mormon, and they're very nice people, but I know that's not what I believe. And they're like, okay, cool. Can we give you one? I'm like, no, thank you. Have a good day. And kept walking.
Oh, rad. Cool. I feel like usually it doesn't, I can't get away from the conversation anytime I've engaged, if you will.
Yeah.
It tends to, they don't leave.
They like to talk.
Yeah.
And, that's not a bad thing. Like, I like to talk too about what I believe, although I'm not very good at verbalizing it sometimes. That's just, I'm 20. I'm still a baby in this world. So
Amen.
We'll get better at that as time goes on. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I have, just on the topic of Mormons in general, I have tons of friends who are Mormons.
Absolutely.
They're all very nice people.
Some of the greatest people I know.
Greatest people I know. Love them to death.
Yeah.
But, hey, we all believe our own things. It's not what I believe, but Christianity's not what they believe. And, life goes on.
What do you think about Islam? No, I don't know. We don't got to do that. I went on a missions trip this summer, at the beginning of this summer, to Vietnam.
Yeah?
Crazy, dude.
How's that?
It was bonks. It was it was super fun. Incredible experience. Absolutely incredible. It was really cool how different everything is, right? It is truly a different world. It's literally on the other side. For them, there's no Mormonism. There's very little Christianity. There's apparently they're 5% Catholic.
Really?
Which is kind of funny. Yeah. But they're 90% Buddhist.
Mm-hmm.
So in Buddhism everywhere, right? And there's a ton of idols everywhere. Yeah. Huge, big stone idols. Really cool, honestly, to look at. But every now and then it was funny because you'd see like a Mother Mary also amongst the Buddhas. It's kind of funny.
Nice.
But yeah, Vietnam was crazy, dude. Yeah, I don't know. I've only met a few people now who are in an in-between stage, if that makes sense, between putting their full faith in Jesus and atheism, I guess, would be the other option. I've always respected those people because I was once one myself. Do you have any big questions?
Big questions? What do you mean?
Do you have anything what is holding you back, I guess?
Oh, from fully trusting? That's actually a good question. And for me, it's not knowing, if that makes sense. Like I'm rather logically minded. I like to know things. I like to predict things. I like to know what's going to happen. And you don't when you fully trust Jesus. And it's there's a beauty to it, I have to admit. But at the same time, it's like shit. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely scary. It's not fun to not know. I still struggle with it every single day. Yeah.
It's constant prayer. It's what it is.
Yeah. And
like a constant like trying to re-give it to God kind of thing. But that's just every single day I have to like re-accept that I don't know. It's not easy. It's not fun.
Yeah.
But it's I guess like it's cool, dude. That's cool. Interesting. I don't have like good questions. Oh, man.
So tell me, what are your thoughts on atheism?
On atheism?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I think it's foolish to believe that there's not a creator. And I think there's probably many reasons to that. The biggest one would be the complexity of everything. I don't think that we came from primordial soup. The idea that, atheism, I love the quote from somebody, I don't know who, atheism only works if you give them one miracle, and it's the Big Bang, right? Many atheists scientists, I think Albert Einstein eventually said that there needed to be a God due to math alone. It's kind of like if you go back far enough, everything has a cause and effect, but the Big Bang had no cause. It's something needs to be, and if there was a cause for the Big Bang, it would have to be outside of this realm, if you will. It'd have to be outside of the physical realm, and it would have to be able to have the power and the authority to create what it has. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which, that just describes God.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
it's kind of...
there is only one creator.
Atheism, I think, is a fear of giving your life to another being, if that makes sense. I think Christianity, at least atheism, is kind of like Satan's message, if you will, where you can be your own God and you could serve yourself. But rather it's like a half truth, because the real truth is that our God created us with intent, along with, he made us in his image. The same way that he desires us, we are going to desire him, if that makes sense. The happiest then that we could possibly be due to our created or our intended creation, if that makes sense, our own design. Our design is to want him or want something bigger, better.
Yeah.
Right. And he is the only thing that would be able to fulfill that.
We want to know the unknown.
So it's kind of, I don't know if I'm explaining it right, where it's like atheism then takes that and says that you can fulfill that yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't need a creator or a God. Right. Not only that, but it's just really pessimistic. Just like after you're dead, you're just gone.
Gone.
It's kind of lame. I don't know. I feel like there are many things in this world that we can't explain, and or can't fully understand completely.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it points towards something greater than here.
Yeah, I agree. I think I also love the quote. I also don't know who it's from. I should really get better at remembering who these are from. But there are no atheists on the battlefield.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, once death actually knocks on their door.
Yes.
They're like, oh, shoot.
It's like, oh.
All of a sudden it feels real.
Yes.
Death is something that doesn't feel real until you're in a near-death experience, and you got to like calm yourself down afterwards.
Yes. I had a motorcycle accident early in July, and I completely agree.
I was up on a snowy mountain last December, or the December before last December. Me and 3 high school buddies, we were hiking up to some hot springs. We were the only ones on that trail, fresh snow, it's probably at least 5 feet deep. We're on snowshoes up in the Rocky Mountains.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be like a 5-hour hike, 7 miles. We made it to like mile 5, 7 hours in. And even then we wouldn't be able to make it to the hot springs because we would have to cross a raging river. So I don't know. I didn't know how far we had to go. All I knew is that it was dark, getting colder. I'm like sogging wet with sweat. I'm losing heat even though I'm moving, right?
Yeah.
I'm hungry, and I'm just something about it. I knew that I wasn't going to get to the hot springs that night, which means, at least to me in that moment, was that there was no escape from this cold, and it was just getting colder and colder. I was frigid at that point, right?
Yeah.
Just trying to march along. I'm so exhausted. 7 miles, well, I guess it was 5 at that time, but 7 hours, we were going at a sloth's pace because of how difficult this was, going uphill and snow and snowshoes. It got bad to the point where I've never had a panic attack in my entire life, but thinking about how there was no turning back and how I didn't exactly have an escape from the cold that night, I suddenly broke down and thought I was going to die. I didn't think I was going to survive. Yeah. I just broke, dude. I've never experienced that before in my life. Crazy. Newest low. That was bad. 2 of the guys in the group, they pushed forward to go to the basically wherever the river was, because we were just going to camp there that night. I didn't know how far away it was at that point. They told me maybe a mile. But then my other friend, I turned around, he like took out his space blanket and he wrapped me around and everything. Yeah. And it was really bizarre to experience my reason coming back. Because I went into full panic, and when panic starts,
there is no reason.
You can't breathe. I'm cold. I'm gonna die.
Yeah,
and I'm done for. You know.
Yeah.
As soon as my friend embraced me in his space blanket, and I started to warm back up, I could feel myself like, okay, I'm not gonna die. It's but still, you know, you kind of go into a little bit of shock. Like, frick, that could have been bad.
Yeah.
That was almost real, because it doesn't feel real otherwise.
Yeah, like you think of these stories of people, you know, climbing Mount Everest, and like, oh, that's cool, but like, imagine yourself actually on the mountain, right?
No shot,
and it's like probably 10 times colder than that experience, 10 times scarier.
Yeah,
and yet still people still do it, like,
and they die,
Everybody that died on Mount Everest was once a highly motivated person. So that is great reason for me to not be a highly motivated person.
I'm sleeping in tomorrow.
I'm sleeping in tomorrow.
Amen, dude.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Yeah. Have you ever had any near-death experiences?
Other than the motorcycle crash, thankfully that one.
Yeah, take me through that.
Oof.
That sounds awful.
It kind of went, and
you were going fast?
So here's how it went. I was turning left on Highway 95 in Coeur d'Alene. Turning left, and it wasn't a stop sign. It was kind of like the center turn lane, like a center U-turn lane.
Okay, yeah.
And there was a street right across the way I was trying to get to, and this massive truck and trailer was in the lane closest to me, and he slowed down, he stopped, and he waved me on. And the reason he stopped is because there was a red light just over there. Traffic was piling up. So he was trying to be nice and left a little gap for me to go. I was like, all right, sick, thanks, dude. And I accelerated, went for it. And then the lane opposing him, there was someone still coming and just clapped me. And yeah, thankfully, he was also slowing down because, like, usually it's a 45 mile an hour limit on 95 through Coeur d'Alene. But he was going slower than that. Otherwise, I would have some broken stuff. But yeah, he smacked me.
Is the bike okay?
Bike's good. I'm good too. Nothing broken. Just kind of.
Did you fly off your bike and drag along the floor?
Yeah. So my pants were completely ripped at the knees. Knees were scraped. And bike was over there somewhere. And I was just on the floor, stood up, like, what the heck happened?
Do you remember it at all, or was it more like you were turning, then all of a sudden you're waking up on the ground?
It was more like a turning. I heard a conk, and then I'm like, oh, I'm on the ground now. Didn't black out or anything. It just happened.
Terrifying.
Happened so fast I didn't comprehend any of it.
Gosh, dude.
Yeah. So that one wasn't fun.
Maybe?
No concussion. Just a really bad sprain on my right foot. Swelling and no fractures, nothing broken. Bike was okay. It has cosmetic damage. Call it character. Added character to it.
Some bike lore.
Some bike lore. Yes. And thankfully it turned out a lot better than it could have.
Have you gone dirt biking with some of the peeps?
No, I have a street bike.
Oh, okay, yeah, cool. Asher, you know Asher?
Yeah, I know Asher.
He brought Cody, you know Matea?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Cody, Matea, Abby, and I up to Moscow Mountain.
Oh, really?
In his truck. He's a little off-roading truck.
Yeah.
Super fun. He was taking us around a corner. Then we got to this gate where people have been going around it. So it's just like a really jagged, I don't know how you say that. It's like a really jagged dirt path that goes around this gate.
Gotcha.
So he got out of the truck to go see if we'd be able to make it around, because it usually would just be dirt bikes, right?
Yeah.
Which be able to make it for sure. So he was checking if it was big enough and or if we'd get stuck. So he gets out of the truck after putting it in park and going up to look at it, and all of a sudden the truck it like lurches. It goes and it starts to turn over, and all of a sudden we're rolling full speed backwards. I've never seen Asher terrified before, but he like literally jaw dropped, hands on the head. Oh no, right?
Oh man.
And he starts running towards the truck, not knowing what to do. He puts his hand on the hood, like running with it.
Yeah.
And we ended up falling into some bushes.
Oh, wow.
And the bushes stopped us. But apparently, Matei went back sometime. I don't know. They were probably dirt biking, right? Mm-hmm. I guess Asher and Cody knew. I was just sitting there like, all right, if I die, I die. But rolling backwards, it was a cliff.
Ooh.
So if those bushes weren't there, we would have just rolled off.
Ooh.
Yep. So that would have been cool. But ever since I've known Jesus, it's like I don't think I've really had a fear of death.
Yeah.
I feel like if a bear was mauling me, I'd still be terrified. But I don't think I don't think I would panic again if I was up on a mountain, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't think it'd be different because there's a certainty now to knowing where I'm going to go, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like I believe that fully. So if there's always doubt, but I think when it comes down to it, I think I would be not panicking. Just like I didn't panic at all in that truck. I was like, I don't know where I'm going to go.
We're going backwards.
I'm going backwards. Asher's not in the car. We don't know how to stop this thing. All right.
Yeah.
I don't think I stressed once. It was just like all right. It was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Even. Yeah. Super cool. Do you think consciousness ends at all?
Consciousness ends. Oh, that's interesting. What do you define as consciousness?
Well, the only consciousness I can assume that is real is my own. So going off of what I think my own consciousness is just awareness of self, I guess. Right?
Mm-hmm. Like awareness of self, and like I touch this plant and I feel it's plastic.
Yeah. That's a real plant.
My bad. Real plant.
Yeah, don't expose us like that. Or like you can even take a dog, a dog, I don't know, wants.
Mm-hmm.
It has desires. I don't know, something that's, what wants desires that isn't aware that it has desires.
Fair enough.
Right?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. So
maybe like a robot,
consciousness
but that's not conscious then.
Consciousness being like your individuality, we'll say.
Sure. Your own perception of yourself.
Yeah, your own perception of yourself, your individuality. Because I would argue, without consciousness, you wouldn't have unique personalities.
I'd agree. Unless they were pre-programmed by somebody who had consciousness. Like how we can make different robots with different personalities.
Yeah, right. You need creators imbue, personalities. But that necessarily does not mean that they imbue consciousness. Like I would argue that ChatGPT does not have a conscious.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Is ChatGPT self-aware that it's ChatGPT? I mean, is a dog self-aware that it's a dog, or is it just a dog and it has desires?
This is deep, man. This is deep.
Is it?
This is deep.
There's probably some science answer for it. John, look up the definition of consciousness.
One thing I have heard is that after you die, when you flatline, your brain still has X amount of time of activity where it produces waves, signal waves.
I always thought it released DMT.
EMT?
Yeah, it's like a hallucinogenic. Hormone, chemical, if you will.
DMT or EMT?
DMT.
Yeah.
DMT, okay.
I don't know what it stands for. It's an alliteration. I can try and come up with something.
How about I look up what you...
Dogs, mango, transmission.
It's, dimethyltryptamine.
I like yours better.
Yeah, me too. Mine feels more fun.
Yeah.
But consciousness there's three definitions I have. The state or condition of being conscious. A sense of one's personal or collective identity, including the attitudes, beliefs, and sensitivities held by or considered characteristic of an individual or group.
Personality.
Or special awareness or sensitivity.
Yeah, self-awareness.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Yeah.
So,
does that ever end?
I don't know. Sorry to interrupt.
No, dude, you're good. It is Sir William.
Sir William.
Roommate cameo.
Peace out, dude.
Later. I'll be back in like...
Bye-bye.
Does consciousness end? I don't honestly know.
I've had a lot of, or rather, I've looked into a lot of near-death experiences, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
They're super interesting, especially because I think they can be provable and or measured to a degree, where people who claim to have had a near-death experience, whether, like, for instance, in the hospital, if their heart stops, once they are resuscitated, they come back and they explain that they have now experienced a near-death experience, being they have like levitated above their body
and
they're watching the doctors operate on them, do all the things, and some have claimed to even floated down the hallway and have read something. And then apparently that thing comes to be true, that thing was out there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's like, how would that patient have known if they didn't actually do that? Along with, I think Joe Rogan, I was listening to one of his podcasts. I don't remember who it was or his name, but it was a man who studied near-death experiences for like the past 20 years.
I listened to something similar a few days ago. Was it one where it was like the study of psychedelics?
Maybe
something like that.
I don't know. There's a lot of those on Joe Rogan podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of those. But he has a website where he has archived all of these different, I don't know what you call them. People write in their near-death experiences, if you will. And they're somehow vetted, so then it's like fairly trustworthy. Probably not every single one is true, but there are remarkable similarities between many of them. And what's really interesting is that, at least his claims, is that it doesn't point to any particular religion. But what it does point to is consciousness after death, which is really interesting. So my current understanding of it, which could be flawed, it probably is that there is no, like, once your flesh dies, right? Once we die in our human form right now currently, your consciousness doesn't even end. It doesn't stop. It doesn't even blink an eye.
Yeah.
Like, you're thinking through the entire process. Death is simply like the separation of your flesh and your soul. At least that's what I think. And then your soul goes and, I don't know what it does, gets to heaven somehow.
Goes away somewhere.
It floats away in the breeze.
Yeah. I think that's interesting because over the last week, I was part of a conversation with someone, and we got to talking about, creators and stuff like that, and listening to their experiences with it. And what was interesting is like you mentioned, those experiences aren't tied to a religion. The person I was talking with, or person my group was talking with, was had various experiences and saw her grandma come into her room in like a blue mist and say, you know what, hey, I'm okay, everything's okay. She woke up, her grandma died that morning.
Whoa. Yeah.
So like, it's kind of interesting because, like, sure, consciousness as you know it might end, but you might get an entirely new experience of being.
Well, that was a dream. Dreams do you think dreams have meaning?
I don't know.
I think they do.
Okay, so in my experience, the one dream, I don't usually dream, but one I had recently, I dreamed that somebody I knew, no faces or anything were given in the dream, but somebody I knew was pregnant. And the next day, a friend of mine was like, I'm having a grandbaby. I'm like, holy shit.
Oh, wow. All right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That was freaky.
That is freaky. Like, I wonder what the intent would have been. Because I think a lot of them are, I guess I shouldn't claim that all of them are. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But
like, one time when I was a kid, I dreamt that I was Scooby-Doo chasing a hamburger. Like, I don't think that one has meaning.
Maybe, though. Maybe. What if it does? What if it does?
I really like hamburgers.
And so, Scooby-Doo's cool.
Maybe.
I don't know. The Bible, though, it definitely, there are many instances where God does communicate with
through dreams.
His people through dreams. So it's like, okay, so there's something there.
Yeah.
For sure. Dreams can have meaning. Then now what is that? That's interesting if, like your friend with the grandma, that makes sense. Something about that. Because then, my understanding is that our thoughts can be manipulated by demons and or God, right? Kind of thing. Or even new thoughts can be thrown into our head, whatever. And I'm assuming dreams would be under that same manipulation, if you will.
Now, what I don't remember is if her experience was in a dream or in reality.
Oh, like just a straight up vision.
Just like a straight up blue mist in the room.
Oh, whoa.
So I don't remember that specifically.
That would be cool. What do you think about auras?
Auras? Yeah. I've been told I have a good aura.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You know somebody then who could see him?
No, I know somebody who's a dumbass who likes to say that stuff.
Galphas love auras.
What is a Galpha?
Gen Alpha.
Gen Alpha.
Gotcha.
Fucking youngsters of the new age.
I definitely think that something along the lines of aura is true. Because, like, if you're standing in front of, let's say, Alexander the Great, right? Okay. You're going to feel intimidated, right?
Yeah, there's something else going on.
There's something going on.
Sixth sense going on.
Because, like, you're going to feel intimidated. You're going to be like, this guy is not someone I want to mess with. So, like, I definitely think there is that intuition, whatever you want to call it.
I mean, even just the feeling of knowing that somebody's looking at you. Yeah. What I've always noticed is that no matter what, whenever I feel that feeling, I will look in that direction and I will immediately make eye contact with somebody. Mm-hmm. It's like somehow you beam straight to them. It's not like a, where is that? It's exactly where
you're
it is.
There.
It's precise.
Yes.
How?
Yeah, I don't know. And that's impressive. Because, like, I've had similar stuff too, where it's like, I know I'm being looked at and I turn around and somebody's there. When I was a kid, I could sleep through anything except footsteps. Still can. I can sleep through anything except footsteps in my vicinity.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wild. Do you snore?
No.
Are you more of a honk shoe or a honk?
A honk shoe, more like a hawk tua kind of guy.
Oh, crazy. You want to sleep over?
Ooh, Big Spoon. I call Big Spoon.
Oh, all right. Shoot. Keep me warm at night. What were we talking about? Near-death experiences?
Yeah, near-death experience. So I guess, like, that kind of leads into a question. Do you think there's a spirit world?
Yes, absolutely there is. I do believe that fully. I believe that it is full of, I guess, angels doing whatever God's telling them to do and demons doing whatever God doesn't want them to do. Yeah. I believe that every single day there is a spiritual battle, even for people who aren't Christians. Mm-hmm. I think the battle only begins when you choose to fight against them, which is choosing to follow Jesus. Yeah. A lot of people, especially in America, it's really interesting because we don't feel exposed to it. Mm-hmm. Like the rest of the world is extremely spiritual. My aunt and uncle, they went on a mission trip down to Africa, and they talked to me about how, like, there's literally witches and warlocks, self-proclaimed witches and warlocks, just running around down there. It's normal. Yeah. Like, it's not weird. It's not something that is there's no stigma around it, if that makes sense. There's no skepticism about it. The rest of the world is very spiritual, and it's only America and maybe the rest of the Western world. I don't know about Europe as much, but America, knowing, like, living here, understanding the culture, we are very against spiritual anything for the most part. Yeah. I mean, even in America, there's a lot of spiritualism going on, but it's like a lot of rocks and geodes, I guess.
And why do you
astronomy science?
Why do you think that is? Why do you think there's a difference?
Well, I do think it's just a giant trick, if that makes sense.
A trick.
I think demons know that because of our history, because of our education system, because of our culture especially, it's more advantageous to them to stay in the shadows, if that makes sense, rather than manifesting through fear and or I don't know, anything else. Yeah. Where they'd rather, like, look at our culture. What is it? It's chasing materialism and or things of this world. It's about being extremely successful and wealthy and filling up or seeking fulfillment in the world. Yeah. Which will lead to emptiness, right? Yeah. If we are made to reside with a heavenly Father up in heaven and or I guess on the new earth, right? Something like that is the only thing that would be able to fulfill us.
Mm-hmm.
So the kind of sense then that what is celebrated in our culture, I believe, is orchestrated by the evil one.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I heard it was actually Pastor Scott at Venture Church.
Nice.
Kind of gave a sermon on this, and he brought up the topic of philosophy.
I love it.
And I love philosophy too. But what he brought up, kind of along the lines of what we're talking about, is like the Eastern philosophy has been always based around the ideology of the group is better than myself. And Western philosophy, we came in thinking, hey, you know what? My ideals are more important than the group.
Very individualistic.
Very individualistic. And that's personally why, one of the reasons why I think that spirituality over here is a little different. Because we prioritize ourselves.
Yeah, you're right.
Right.
My own experience.
My own experiences, my own
Yeah.
I wants.
If we're over there, if the group says this is truth,
then I will sacrifice for the group.
Oh, crazy. That's really cool.
Yeah. So that's kind of my...
Just the cultural difference.
Just the cultural difference. Like how, as a country, we came into being. Not like one nation under God, right? We came in as a Christian nation.
Yeah.
But, you know, as ideologies perversed, I'll say, I think that's kind of one of the reasons that there's such a rift.
Do you enjoy the God's morality, if you will?
God's morality?
Yeah, like the Christian morality compared to what the world says is good. Because there's like good in the eyes of man and good in the eyes of God, and those contradict for sure.
I do. Also along the lines of philosophy, I think that God's morality is what philosophers have been trying to seek as ethics and moral, the standard. They're trying to reinvent the wheel when they should just read Genesis.
Dude, my older brother Josh, so my two older brothers are way older than me. They're 9 and 8 years older.
Oh, wow.
So my parents divorced when I was 12. So they were men or at least young men, right? By the time my dad was out of the picture. And they grew up with him. They really sought after then new ideas because, you know, we didn't trust what we grew up with.
Yeah.
We all of a sudden our dad was out of the picture, and we were all of a sudden able to question things that we weren't allowed to question before. So both my other brothers went down this huge path of trying to explore different philosophies, ideas, religions, anything and everything, right? They kind of, Frick, what was I talking about? What did you say last?
The self individualistic versus...
I lost it, dude. There was a reason for bringing him up. Something about... Okay, yeah. So, Josh, my older brother Josh, he ended up... The ethics and the morality. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so Josh then basically trying to figure everything out. He ended up meeting a woman, got her pregnant, then they eloped. And ever since then, he's been trying to figure out how to be a leader and a man, right? Yeah. And it's really cool because there was a good many, many years of him chasing after these figures of manliness and trying to understand what it really means to be a man. And being that, he really has been a leader, especially somebody I look up to. And it's really cool because last year, around this time, me and Caleb and Josh, we all kind of came to Christ around the same time, or at least, you know, like fully accepted him. And Josh, it's really cool. His testimony is really how he got convinced to read one of the books of the Bible. I think it was Proverbs, maybe by my grandpa, something like that. And as he was reading, he described how everything that he's been trying to learn and seeking ever since our dad left, right? Ever since he's been trying to become a man, all of those self-help books, all of those podcasts he listened to, all of it is within the Bible.
Yeah.
And every single verse that he was reading is something that he has taken years to try and learn. And it was all right there. Yeah. As something that he previously disregarded. And it's like, he really, man, so it's just really cool to see. So God's morality then, and or what you were saying, where atheists try and
reconstruct
it in their own way. They take God out of it, pretty much, which doesn't make sense. Why would you take the creator out of the created, right? The process and or the way that it's intended to be.
Yeah.
Super cool. I hope that makes sense, even with my flub in the middle.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying completely. Like, it's part of the reason why I wanted to. I'm reading through Eastern philosophy, some stuff right now, and I just got curious about it, and I was like, okay, I want to find parallelisms. I want to find, because everybody has, nations throughout history have had this idea of, being right, morally right, upholding, good standards and stuff like that. And there's just some general rules to not be a dick. Yeah. And, I think you can reconstruct them as much as you want, but they're all in the Bible to begin with.
Do you think the Bible is inspired by God?
Inspired? I definitely think so. Because without it, you wouldn't have the magnificence it holds. Right? Mm-hmm. Because it's written by however many people over however many years, and it tells the same story. It points to the same person, and it's the parallelisms are absurd.
It's I think it's cross references, something like that. It has
so many, tens
of thousands, where no other book, even spiritual books. I don't have scriptural texts, if you will. Like, what is the Islam one? The Quran doesn't come close.
Yeah.
To the amount of cross references and or parallels, if you will, throughout the text. Like, everything within the New Testament is predicted within the Old Testament, stuff like that. It's all prophesied, which is, it's inhuman. Simply.
It's crazy.
That's the only way I can ever wrap my head around it. It's simply inhuman. It's cool.
And I'm reading through the Old Testament right now.
I haven't started. I mean, I've read a little bit, and I've been exposed to it my whole life. I've read about half the New Testament so far. It's been incredible.
I love the Old Testament because it, from what I've understood, the Old Testament. Because the Trinity, right? God the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. There are three unique things in one. And that's what the Bible is, in a big picture. The Old Testament tells you about the Father. The New Testament, the Gospels, tell you about the Son. And the letters, Paul's letters, tell you about the Spirit.
Oh, cool, dude. That's rad.
There's three different things that tell you, hey, three different characters. Here's how they are. Here's what they are. And the Gospels is Jesus' story and stuff like that, which is how a Christian should live. And I think that the story of the Israelites in the desert is how life normally is.
Oh, cool, dude.
I think that we all have our own desert, right? We're all wandering. We're all lost.
Yeah, absolutely.
And someday we'll find God and what we're looking for, and even then, even when we do find it, we're still wandering.
Yeah, we are. We're still wanting, still desiring, still seeking. It's a constant battle to seek him every day, kind of thing. Yeah, super cool, dude.
But yeah, no, parallelisms. I love it. That's why I wanted to read the Old Testament, just because there are so many.
It's long. I think it's twice as long as the New Testament, right?
Yes. Yeah,
John.
The middle of the...
What up?
You know what? Never mind.
The middle of the Bible is Psalm 118, right? And there are 500-something verses before it, 500-something verses after it.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to read some of the notoriously boring books. Like Numbers, I think, is one. Or maybe it's Leviticus. It's just...
Oh, the laws?
It's just law.
Yeah, that's Leviticus.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah.
It's interesting.
Is it?
Yeah.
You find it interesting?
I do.
I
find
sure.
it interesting.
I wonder how bored I will be and or not bored. Maybe I will be entertained by it.
It's like, I like the laws. The laws are cool because it shows you how blessed we are, right? It hammers that into you to not have to go sacrifice a goat every week or something like that.
Yeah, dude.
And there are stories in there of of people like saying, God, give me victory, and I now will sacrifice the first thing that runs out of my house to you, give it to you in glory. And lo and behold, he's given victory. And the first thing that runs out of his house is his firstborn daughter. And guess what? Sacrifice. So it's just, it hammers in how blessed we are to be able to
no longer
have
bear
faith.
That responsibility.
Yes, to know that we have been sacrificed for. And
dang, dude.
Just have it.
Dude, there's so many different ways to look at the crucifixion and what Christ did for us. There's so many different ways to see it and or understand it, if that makes sense, to feel it. It's something that I don't know if we could ever truly understand what he did for us. I feel like I struggle a lot of the times to not take it for granted. It's definitely, it's once every blue moon I like actually think about it, and it's heavy, dude.
Yeah.
It's heavy.
Yeah.
It's
the
idea of it alone is insane. I don't know. It's like the greatest climax to the greatest. I mean, I guess it's not even the climax. It's just
it's the end of season 1.
Yeah. If even.
Yeah.
Season 1 would be what? The flood?
The flood.
Dude, the flood's crazy because there's 1,600 years, I think, of genealogy, according to the Bible, that is just human history that we don't know about.
Yeah.
It's like 4 chapters in Genesis, and that's it. There's so much more to the story that we just are unaware of.
And I think there's even more than that, because like if you analyze Revelations and Genesis, Revelations ends where Genesis begins to a point.
With the new earth.
With the new earth.
Oh.
God creating Adam. He says God created Adam and put him in the Garden of Eden. It never said that God made Adam in the Garden of Eden.
Oh. Whoa.
So let that sink in a little bit.
Whoa. That can mean so many things.
It can mean so many things. And that was my favorite thing to think about as a kid.
Talked about that.
You did, yeah. You and Justin came up with some cool idea.
Justin?
No, it wasn't Justin?
No, it was some guy online.
Oh, okay, cool.
He talked about the idea that when Adam and Eve were around, essentially they were one of many humans.
Yeah.
Right? But the first 2 to have souls, and they were put into the garden as like a test. And then obviously they flunked that.
Why would they have to be the first ones with souls? I guess that's like the reason why God would choose them out, kind of thing.
I don't know. I just think maybe.
Well, it must have been
It
Adam.
doesn't have to be that they were the first ones to have souls, but humans had to have souls, and everything else doesn't, right? So
Yeah.
Either everyone had souls when they were human, and God made it that way, or they got. I guess it would have to be that way, yeah.
Well, I would definitely argue against like God needing to test things out. Like it's not like he would.
That's not exactly I don't think that's God testing things for himself. It's a test to show man that they need God, right? And that's all that the Bible is.
If anything, that's why we're here.
Yeah. To show us why we need God.
To show us his goodness.
Yeah. It wasn't him testing things out. It was
like, ooh, let's add apples to the world. Oh, nope, that fucked up. Try again.
Yeah, that ruined the whole system.
let me try that again. No more apples.
Adds humans. Now they're killing everything and having incest.
Bonus fairy, baby.
Oh, man. Rough.
Yeah, it wasn't that God needed to test things. It was that it was a test of humanity into where we realized we flunked the test.
Well, because it's always been a highly debated thing within the church of what the cities were that I think it was Cain, I think, was banished to, right? Cain fled to cities.
If Adam and Eve are the only 2 people, where'd Cain go?
Yeah, I think the theory that I subscribed to for quite a while was it would be the Nephilim and or the fallen angels, but the Nephilim doesn't really make sense because the Nephilim requires people to make. So unless Eve was banging fallen angels, then there wouldn't be any Nephilim to go make cities. But the fallen angels, Satan, I don't know if it states that it's Lucifer, but it's Satan, just the evil one, right? He was the snake in the garden.
Yeah.
So the fallen angels were there. they weren't. I would assume then that they weren't all within the garden. It would just be him who snuck in, kind of thing. So the cities could be fallen angels.
Maybe.
I see no reason why it wouldn't be, because I believe that demons can manifest in physical form. I think angels can too. I think, I think I have some stories and stuff that can back that up. That doesn't mean that it's true though, but then there's also like the verse where it talks about always being joyful or something like that, because you never know when you're entertaining an angel, because they're like amongst the crowd kind of thing, which is super cool. But I guess that doesn't mean that they're necessarily in a physical form. They could just be like in the spiritual realm next to you. I don't know. Yeah, no idea. But
I mean, the Old Testament does have examples of like angels coming down and saying, yo, you're going to have a kid next month.
So true, dude. So true. What's up, Mary?
What's up, Mary? You're pregnant now. Have fun with that one.
What?
By the way, the king's going to want to kill you, so you might want to move down to Egypt or wherever.
By the way, Joseph's going to be a little mad.
Joseph's going to think you've been sleeping around. We're not going to tell him. Oh, no, they did tell him.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they totally did. Yeah. We're not going to tell him until after he first finds out.
Wait an ungodly amount of time.
Yeah.
It's going to be really funny.
It is a godly amount of time, though.
It is.
That's funny.
That's so funny, Joe.
But the fallen angels, I wonder, like, we don't know how long Adam and Eve were in the garden.
Yeah.
Which that gets into creation stuff and things where it's like, how old is the earth, right?
And, you know, the earth might be a lot older than the Bible says. Because, like,
the Bible doesn't say how old it is, really. It says it was created in, like, 6 days, but the sun wasn't even a thing yet. Days weren't a thing yet. I don't think it's, I don't think I personally take the 7 days creation literally. I think it's very symbolic of God giving us an example of how we should be living our days. Of working 6, Sabbath kind of thing. Yeah.
And the other interesting parallelism is 7.
Yes, dude. Numbers are everywhere in the Bible.
Oh, it's crazy.
Bro.
It's even in places you don't expect it to be. Like some stories in the Old Testament, they crop up and it's like, why?
Mm-hmm. There's the number 3 is actually a big part of my testimony.
Yeah.
Super cool. It's a super long... Do you want to hear it?
Let's go for it.
It's a long story. Let me see if I can...
Put it on 2x speed.
2x speed? Okay, so... well, you already heard about my dad and stuff, right? So basically, I wasn't allowed to question the Bible, especially the Bible when I was a kid, anything Christian related. So once he was gone, I kind of denounced it a little bit, and I had a distrust of authority because my dad kind of lied to me. I don't think he was purposefully lying to me, but he lied to me for sure, right? And or he misrepresented what truth actually is. So I didn't trust it. Him being the authority figure of my life, you know, I never liked him. I never respected him, even as a child. And it's just like, okay, so the man that I am supposed to be able to fall back on and trust the most was not trustworthy. So why would I trust anything else that is telling me to do anything, right? So I got super deep into conspiracy theories because I don't trust the government whatsoever because they are an authority figure. So I got into conspiracy theories, and I got to the point where I was so convinced that I am one of the little people and that there is a deep state and their goal is to control the entire world. They don't care about me, right? Like it's it'll get to the point where my freedoms and or like rights that America has given us, the Constitution, Bill of Rights, all that stuff, those will be taken away. And I got to the point of I was in so much fear or existential dread even that I was literally making maps for my family to leave to the mountains. I was like stocking up on MREs so that I can go bury them along these trails that I was making. So then by the time spit hits the fan, because I believed it would, and I still kind of believe it will, but that's a whole other thing. So then I'd have like food while getting my family to safety wherever that is, right? Trying to like learn all this survivalist stuff, trying to make sure that I would be able to be self-sufficient and just flee once spit hits the fan. So I convinced myself that there is a greater evil. Because like you were saying with all the parallels, I don't think that there's a lot of things in this world that cannot be explained. And I believe in the deep state, along with, and that kind of entails that the entire world, at least all the world leaders, it's all a big farce pretty much. Like they're already pretty much united and all working towards a greater goal. Which, how can that be even orchestrated? Not only that, but I have knowledge about the Bible. I always went to like Bible camp or whatever, church camp, if you will. I attended church, I've still been around Christians my entire life. I know about the stories. I've, and seeing the parallels between the evil one depicted in the Bible, and what I've been seeing in conspiracy theories and the evil that goes on in this world. I was convinced that Satan was real. Therefore, by proxy, Jesus might be real, right? And so I took a trip over to my grandma's land. My aunt and uncle live there too. They're all wonderful. I love them. I respect them a lot for their faith. They live about 300 miles away from here, Western Washington.
Yeah.
I go over there, spend a weekend with them. And at that point, I was really questioning. I was really getting to the bottom of my deepest curiosities, especially when it comes to, or whatever hunches I had left to get over, I guess, to fully accept Christ, right? And they pretty much answered all of my questions and entertained all of my curiosities, the ones that I would have been not allowed to question, right, back in the day.
Yeah.
They even entertained my crazy ideas of conspiracy theories and the deep state and all that. It's kind of fun. And then, so there's a lot of parallels between everything. And so this is where it gets crazy. Eventually it'll get to the number thing. I wake up the last morning and I'm driving home. So 300 miles away, that's important. Because there's just no way this is a coincidence. I woke up 300 miles away from this. On the drive home, the 5-hour drive home, I decide that I'm going to give my life to Christ, and that I'm going to go down to a park nearby my mom's house, with a river, and I was going to go do like a little self-baptism thing. So I get home 5 hours after leaving, right? 300 miles away. My mom doesn't have a side quest. I just walk into my room, drop off my bag, and I grab my longboard to go down to the park. And as soon as I walk out the door, I hear thunder. Bing, bang, bong, right out in the sky. It's not raining where I am, but I'm hoping that it's not raining down at the park. Get down to the park. It's raining. So I'm like, well, I'm going to get in anyway. I'm here. So I walked down to the river. I put my stuff underneath a wooden bench so it didn't get rained on. And I got into the water and I looked up into the storm clouds above raining down on me. And said my little hubba boo. I repented and accepted Christ as my Lord and Savior. I then jumped into the water and did a little self-baptism. My head popped up out of the water and I just kind of swam around there for a bit. Maybe a minute passed and all of a sudden the rain started to subside. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. So now I'm like looking up at the clouds, right, to see like, why is the rain stopping? I'm now watching the storm clouds move upriver, and they begin to light up a very beautiful bright pink. I turn around, looking now at what's brightening those up, and I see a beautiful sunset. Beautiful sunset. It's no longer raining. It's like the storm just subsided, right? And so I'm sitting there now like, oh, okay. God? Right? Yeah. And I turn around again, and across the river, on the other side of the river, there's a double rainbow.
Oh, wow.
And I go, my jaw just dropped, right? It's insane to me, at least still to this day.
Yeah.
But it gets crazier. So I sit there for like 15 minutes just gawking, going like, this can't be a coincidence. This is incredible. Just feeling the presence of God, right? I get on my longboard, start heading home. This is after 15, 16 minutes or so. And the way it works is my house is at the end of a super long road. It kind of, to get to the park, then it's like an L, if you will. So it's like a short road. And then once you turn onto the long road, it's my house right at the end of it.
Yeah.
So, or at least my mom's house. So I'm longboarding. I take a right onto the long part of the L that looks at my house way down the road. And there's a third rainbow over my house. And so I'm riding home now on my longboard, sobbing, because there's a double rainbow behind me, bright pink storm clouds to my right, a beautiful sunset to my left, and a rainbow in front of me. So there's 3 rainbows. I've never seen 3 rainbows before in my entire life.
Yeah.
I've never, like, I was literally over 300 miles away that morning. The timing of that is impeccable. I don't think it could have been anything else. I cannot chalk that up reasonably, logically, to be anything other than God.
Yeah.
And so 3, to bring back to the numbers, 3 actually means completeness and new life.
Really?
So I met Jesus, accepted him into my life, completing me and giving me new life because I've been reborn in him.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Dude. I love telling the story. It's so much fun because I relive it.
Yeah.
Dude.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So numbers are super cool, especially in the Bible. 3 kind of holds a soft spot in my heart.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
but
awesome.
7 is definitely a big theme, along with 6. 6 is more of an evil one.
The evil number.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but 7 and 10 in Revelations are 2 big ones.
What's 10?
10 crowns on the beast's horn. Or 7 horns, each wearing 10 crowns or something like that. I don't remember that. But I think they're representative of nations.
Yes.
Like 7 continents, 10 nations on each continent. Or whatever.
My brother sent me a video. It's like a 2-hour long documentary. Then there's a 3-hour long one after that I didn't watch. I watched the first one. I want to watch the next one. It's somebody's interpretation of Daniel's dreams and a little bit of Revelation. And, you know, the Bible, especially through Daniel's dreams, it depicts a lot of beasts, and then it describes those beasts with different features, including like horns, or I don't remember, horns. There's other stuff too.
Horns, eyes, whatever.
Eyes, yeah. And I do absolutely believe that they are depicting nations. Because Nebuchadnezzar's dream, I believe, it's a golden head, silver chest.
The tower. Or the statue?
The statue.
Yeah.
The statue. It's golden head, silver chest, bronze waist, I think, iron legs, and then iron and clay feet. And I think it describes the Babylon, Middle-Persian Empire, which then conquers Babylon. Then it's Greece, a bronze nation, which then conquers the silver, which is the Middle-Persian. And then Rome, which conquers Greece, as strong as iron. And then Rome never gets defeated, but rather dissolves, which is why it's iron and clay.
Yeah.
Which is super cool. So there's like, it absolutely describes nations. And then it goes into the beasts after that, where they have specific horns. And the video is from it's titled Babylon to America, something like that. Where he kind of, something would be described with a symbol of some kind, whether it be a horn or an eye or a stripe, whatever it is, however many legs of the beast or however long it lived, kind of thing. And through all of the different interpretations of that, you're kind of able to make a checklist that you're able to go through different nations that of prominence in history and kind of see which one lines up with it the most.
Yeah.
And there are nations that line up with them perfectly, to the point where I think there's a few dreams and or prophecies that depict it in days. It'll say like 1,200 days this beast will roam or whatever, and it's that translates to 12,000 years, and it literally comes down to 12,000 years that like empire existed. Like it's spot on. It's perfect. It's incredible.
It's crazy.
I don't remember all the different nations and everything that lead up to America, but eventually it gets to 2 beasts, where America is depicted as a beast with 2 small horns, and it's supposedly to represent the separation between church and state.
Yeah.
And then what will eventually I believe, destroy America is rather, I don't think America will be destroyed, but rather it'll, based off biblical prophecy with the rest of that video, it's supposed to conjoin into no longer being separated, church and state, which America is also the first country, I think, in the world to ever have done that.
We're the first country to do a lot of things.
Yeah, we are, dude.
If you think election year, like as crazy as it is, it's impressive. It is the only passive handing down of leadership throughout history.
Whoa.
Like, if you think about that.
I guess you're right.
Like, what other country has
200 years worth of
passive leadership? Passive exchange of leadership.
That is wild. I never thought about that.
I mean, it hasn't exactly been passive, right?
Well, no.
But in
there hasn't been we haven't gone and like burned down our own state, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
We had one civil war in 200 years, or however many. But even then, it wasn't like still, if you think about it, the passive exchange of leadership is something incredible.
Yeah, you're right. Even then, they rejoined, and it's
Yeah.
been chill ever since. Crazy, dude. That's cool. There's a beast depicted in one of Daniel's dreams. I believe it's a dragon with 10 horns. Those 10 horns are supposed to represent 10 different ethnicities and or people groups, I think. And 3 of the horns are supposed to be knocked out by a little horn with a human face, a human head, if you will. And it's really interesting. The way that the video described it was, so the 10 horns being the 10 ethnicities, 3 of them are supposed to be knocked off. 3 of those original 10 ethnicities have gone extinct. No more descendants from them based off of human history.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. So the other 7, eventually turn into like the English and whatever nonsense I don't know. But, crazy to me that they're like the video named them. Like, it's historically shown that 3 people groups did just decease, right?
Wow.
They're gone. And the other 7 are still chilling. And the one that uprooted them, being the horn with the face on it, I think there was all sorts of different meanings and symbolism with that I don't know enough about to rattle off. But it was supposed to represent the Catholic Church, actually, the papacy, rather, more specifically, which is really interesting because what the Catholic Church does is the combination between state and church, which has been how it's been until America, which is one of the days thing where it's like this will happen for this many days. It's literally exact. It goes from the papacy having complete control over the politics, if you will, or at least completely intermingled with politics, all the way up until America was founded.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
super cool. So then eventually, though, America will fall and it'll like reconjoin back into state and church, being conjoined. But until then, we're chilling.
Let's hope it doesn't happen in our lifetime.
It's so cool. It's like the Bible, it has all of human history, past, present, and future.
Yeah.
The problem with the future is it's just a lot of these symbols that we kind of have to do a lot of guesswork with, or it's nations that have not been named yet. It's like so we don't really know. We just know that it's there. So cool, dude.
Yeah.
So cool.
I'd say Revelations is probably one of my favorite books just because it's awesome. It's cool.
It is. It's cool. I fantasize over it.
Yeah.
Probably more than I should. I'm pretty sure the Bible, it's either Jesus or one of the apostles or something that talks about how it's foolish to, obsess over it. But I definitely do. I've been very foolish in my life, for sure. I want answers, even though I know that there are not answers to a lot of the things, or at least the full picture, which is what would probably satisfy me.
Yeah.
There are a lot of answers that are unsatisfactory in the sense that they don't give the full picture. They're just kind of a lot of it does end up being just trust God. And it's like I do because of my relationship with him, and I don't have a problem with that, but I still am curious about what the actual answers in the full picture is.
Yeah.
I want to know it.
Just like, give me more.
Give me more, dude. I want to know.
It's
I don't personally trust a lot of history that has been written. It's always written by the winner kind of thing. It's written by whoever wants you to believe whatever they want to believe. It's kind of obviously there are a lot of ancient texts and stuff like that have not been doctored that you can go look up and like see that history. So there has to be some value in it, of course. But my opinion is that, or my belief is that the Bible is the only history that we can truly trust, that has not been doctored by somebody's agenda, if you will.
Yeah, what I think is interesting is in the Old Testament, it lists other books that are continuations of history, but they don't exist anymore.
Whoa.
And that's the sad part, because like at least I haven't been able to find them, and I don't think, from what I've read various places, it's like, yeah, they didn't make it past one of the raids or something like that.
Whoa.
But it's the book of the history of the kings of Israel, the book of the history of the kings of Judah, and stuff like that.
That's cool.
And it's in 1st and 2nd Kings where it really just kind of like describes somebody's life. It's like, oh, this person did good in the eyes of the Lord, but he fucked up. The rest of his story is in this book. And then, yeah, just kind of stuff like that. And I think that's really interesting. I would love it if those books existed, because I'd love to just go through and read like, hey, what happened? Tell me more.
I'd rather just watch a YouTube video and somebody who did read them and tell me about it. But
fair,
man, that'd be awesome. It would be so cool. What's really fun to think about is how the story, I don't think it'll be over by the time Jesus Christ returns.
No,
like it's still just begun, if that makes sense. Like it'll be as it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
By the time that it's all said and done and this earth dies. It's kind of eternity is a long time. I don't think we can even, I wonder if we can comprehend it if we weren't attached to our flesh. Probably not. We probably just wouldn't think on a timeline. Like it wouldn't matter how long it takes me to do something. I'm going to go build a castle. I'll be back in 50 years. Yeah. I don't think it matters. I don't think we would care.
Yeah.
Because of the eternity aspect of it. It wouldn't be like I'm running out of time. There would never be a running out of time.
Yeah. Perception of time is.
Why did
different.
I start saying that? I don't remember. There was a point that I don't know. It's really cool though. Let's just keep going on that then. The time, an infinite amount of time is a lot of time.
It's interesting.
It's a lot of time. Time passes when there's time. Does that sound profound?
That's so profound.
Thank you.
A little
bit. One of my Kamala burgers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of time, it's been an hour 39.
Oh, nice.
Oh, sick, dude.
That went by fast.
Yeah. Time.
Should we take a break?
Whatever you want.
You want a break?
I could use some water. Cool. So is this live or is this recorded?
It's recorded.
Recorded, okay.
Dude,
yeah.
No way if this was live.
A lot of people have asked that. I didn't know that live podcasts were a thing.
It could be.
Oh, that would be terrifying. No way, dude. Like I need the comfort of knowing that I can say whatever I want, and if it ends up being the most awful, atrocious thing ever, I could edit it out.
Fair enough.
Not only that, but it makes my guests feel more comfortable, I would assume. Where if you say something and regret saying it, then we can go back and edit it out.
Yeah.
It's not like an all now, right now, don't mess up. I would definitely be really stressed out.
That would be a lot stressful. Yes.
The pressure of like dead time or having any dead time at all. When it's a when it's recorded, not live, dead time isn't necessarily the doom of all,
Yeah.
So it's nice.
Yeah. See, what were we talking about? We're talking about time.
Oh yeah, because I forgot about what we were talking about, so I just kept going with time.
Actually, going back, if you don't mind changing the subject train here.
Yeah.
Going back, we talked about leadership, and we talked about some other stuff along that lines. But what Cody and I were talking, and he was doing a Bible study on toxic masculinity.
Oh.
What's your take on that? What does that mean to you?
Toxic masculinity?
Yeah.
Basically, I believe that a man is a man of God. I don't think you can be a man without being a man of God. I think toxic masculinity, there's the idea with like feminism also being a thing where a lot of women, especially by our culture, are convinced that they need to take up masculine independent roles, which I think is rather than embracing their femininity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is two different things. Masculinity, toxic masculinity, what is that? I guess it's probably not being a true leader. For me, because as a man, the kind of responsibility weighs on our shoulders in the eyes of God as being the leader of a household and or leading, just being leaders, I suppose. Not only in the way that we, just in the way that we act, just in every single capacity. But when people see us, we should be leading, even not like consciously, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just
set
by
the example.
So it's kind of like, I don't know, toxic. What do I think about toxic masculinity? I can tell you what I think a man of God is.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think a man of God is a leader, and a leader to me is more of whatever Jesus is. So basically, I think Jesus is the greatest example of a leader. I think that he leads through servitude, true selflessness.
Yeah.
I believe is a leader.
Sacrifice.
So for a man, what it is you're laying down your life every single day so you can live for your woman or your family, right? It's kind of yeah. And in that way you honor God.
Yeah.
I think anything that goes against that would be considered toxic masculinity. I think I would even argue that toxic masculinity is not real. It's literally just being toxic. I think women are fully capable of also being toxic.
Fair
I
enough.
think being masculine is a good thing.
Yeah.
I think truly being masculine is being confident in oneself and living a life full of servitude and love.
Yeah.
Just as Jesus did. Living in Christ's example. I think that is masculine.
Nice.
So toxic masculinity, it's kind of a buzzword. I think a man can be abusive. You know, I think a man can be, he can control that. My father especially twisted the idea of being a leader into being controlling rather. You know, it's the way that he says it is, and that's what truth is, right?
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, toxic. Being controlling is toxic, I suppose. It's evil. It's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So leading the ones who
I don't know if that
trust
answered
you
your
astray
question.
from God, kind of. It's kind of what that all boils down to.
Yeah, I think so. Just showing the love of Christ.
Yeah.
You know, you don't need to preach to show people Jesus.
Yeah. No, I agree completely.
Yeah.
I also think toxic masculinity is an interesting buzzword.
Yeah.
Because like you see, you know, Andrew Tate or whoever else, these really buff jack guys who you know preach masculinity.
It's gonna be me in a year.
It's gonna be you in a year.
Yeah.
Don't become an Andrew.
But no, like people who, you know, say some good things, like you should be a leader, you should provide, you should, you know, be someone people can trust. I think those are all good things that a man should have.
Absolutely. I think that all reflects Christ.
It does. It does. Christ is the ideal man.
Yeah.
Like,
but then I guess break that down.
And like, how can we live that? Because obviously we can't do that, right? But I think traits of a good man is how Christ lived. And we talked about parallelisms in the Bible. And I think another cool parallelism is the relationship, is the hierarchy of relationship, I'll say. Because God loves us. He loves us, he cares for us, and he wants us to trust him and follow his lead. He loves us so much he will sacrifice for us.
Yeah.
He sacrificed his son for us, right? And a step down the ladder, we have man. Man is to love God. Man is to serve God.
It's one of the greatest it's the greatest
commandment, right?
Yeah.
And you know, below man, I'll say we have woman. And woman is to, you know, serve husbands, as the husband is to sacrifice and provide for his wife. And so do you see that up and down ladder? God sacrifices and provides for man. In return, we are to serve and love him.
The same way we are supposed to sacrifice.
We are supposed to sacrifice and love for our wives and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's just another, shout out to the Bible. That's an impressive parallelism right there.
The way I've always described it or talked about it was like the leadership and or the control that men seem to have. It's not supposed to be controlling in a bonding kind of sense, but rather a giving our women freedom.
Yeah.
From that burden of life and or responsibility of it, the stresses of life. You are taking the decision, at least the decisions that can end up in harm, if that makes sense. And when they do end up in harm, it's good that it was your decision because the blame should fall on the man.
Yeah.
Because the blame does. Cody has a great example of how Eve is the one who was deceived and ate of the fruit, yet who is blamed throughout history, throughout the Bible. Adam.
Yes.
The man takes the blame.
Yes.
And that is so cool, which is... this, I believe the world then skews that into toxic masculinity, and it's taking away from a woman, which I don't believe that takes away from her capabilities at all. I think it's just being a gentleman. It's being a man of God.
It really is.
It's serving your woman.
It is.
The same way that she then reciprocates that love and serves you. It's it's cool.
And in the same way, the woman of the household will sacrifice for her children in return, who will love and serve the parents.
That's cool, dude. Oh, keep going down the ladder. That's rad.
And then the dogs, no.
Yeah, then the dogs, right.
But
that's funny, dude.
Yeah, no, I think that one of the biggest traits that a man of God should have is sacrifice for his family.
Amen.
Yeah.
Hallelujah. Praise God.
Yeah.
I just said praise God, praise God.
There's
Jesus says, truly, truly, I say to you. There's power in doubles. When he says,
it's true.
That's why it's shalom, shalom is like harder shalom than just one shalom. When you say things twice in Hebrew, it like
you mean it.
It matters more.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Like double giga. Truly, truly, I say to you, because it's like this isn't like bro. This is your God telling you exactly what's up. Truly, truly, listen to me.
It's like when you tell somebody that I like you.
Like,
back in high school.
So, that brings up a funny story. So, I was homeschooled, right?
Yeah,
Grew up in homeschooled, shut up. Homeschooled Bonners Ferry. And I was a part of this Christian co-op. And what that was is, I'm still not 100% convinced it was not a cult. But it's all these homeschooling moms coming together. We're all Christian, and they all put their kids through this curriculum together. We meet once a week, and it was the clique of kids that I grew up with. And throughout growing up with them, I was about, how old was I? I was 14, I think, and 14 years old in this co-op. And there's a gal in my class, and I decide, you know what? She's pretty cute. So
Amen.
I'm going to write her an email and tell her I like her. Not my sister.
Okay, cool.
Email.
Yeah, so email. I'm going to write this gal an email and tell her I like her. Because you know what? That's a big move right there.
Wild.
For a sheltered homeschool boy.
Yeah, very cool.
14.
14? You did not have a phone yet?
No, not at all.
Nice.
And so I was like, all right, we're going to do it. And so I do it. I send her that email. I'm like, all right, I'm a man.
Amen.
And
a strong one at that.
Strong one. Ooh. And she responds back, and we started talking.
No way, really?
Yeah.
She emailed you back.
She emailed me back.
Wow.
It's crazy, man.
This is already further than I thought it would get.
I know.
This is incredible.
But
Success story.
She emailed me back, and we started talking. We were like, all right, we're kind of cool. We'll hang out a little bit. And our version of hanging out was sitting together behind the bar at the church while we ate lunch for 30 minutes.
Hot.
Very. And you know what? Somewhere along the lines, somebody's mom finds out about this. And it's not even the daughter's mom. The daughter's mom doesn't care, but somebody else's mom is like...
within the mom clique?
Within the mom clique.
Oh.
They're like, oh my God, a boy likes a girl. This can't happen. And so...
Non-Bonners Ferry.
Non-Bonners Ferry. And
that would be inbreeding.
And it escalates. it escalates, and pretty soon it goes around to mom, to mom, to mom, to mom, to mom, before it finally gets to her mom and my mom. And by that time, the entire freaking school was buzzing around like a wasp's nest. And my dad can tell an even funnier side of the story because he was on a walk with my mom, and one of the places they like to walk sometimes in the evening. And she turned to him and was like, all right, I need to talk to you about something. Our son's in trouble at school. And, my dad was telling me his side of the story a while ago. And he's like, all right. So my dad was thinking back to the stuff he did as a kid in high school.
Yeah.
And, you smoking, you chewing, you drinking. And he's like, all right.
activities.
All right. If he got drugs, where'd he get them? How'd he get them? Stuff like that. And all of a sudden she's like, he emailed a girl and told her he liked her. And my dad was like, what? That's not.
The amount of relief that would fall over him.
I don't even know if it was relief, as he just busted out laughing. Because...
That's my boy.
Amen, dude.
It was so funny. And they get back.
Like father, like son.
Like they call me out to the room. I'm like, all right, what did I do? He's like, did you email this girl? I'm like, yes, I did. He's like, great. The moms are pissed, but I don't care.
I'd high five my son.
And yeah, so
first I'd be like,
yeah, dude, you emailed someone? That's archaic.
I guess yeah. First I would say, no way you actually did that. That's impressive.
Hey, takes balls.
Yeah, I guess so.
Certainly
Shoot.
To email.
Maybe I need to email somebody.
I don't think Verizon had made it up to Bonner's Ferry and all of that old, I guess.
Maybe I should email.
But yeah, no, the next time at school, tensions were high. Like moms were looking at me like, oh, like I was some sort of outcast.
Yeah, right. And
something like that.
Like I was just imagining like a public school setting. I'm like, why is there moms? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm special.
All the moms. That's wild.
There's therefore like 300 moms maybe.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know.
What a network.
Yeah.
But
isn't it like a man's worth is his net work? I think that's how it
Your
goes.
network is your net worth.
yeah.
Is that what it is? That's it. That sounds way better.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Those moms, crazy net worth.
It was. Oh.
I bet they're worth a lot of money.
No, that developed one of my theories called the smother net. Where
right. You were telling me that at church.
Yeah.
The smother net is fun.
Smother net, it's real. It exists.
Because you were saying how it like reached down all the way to Moscow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's a nationwide
It's
net.
crazy.
Can't escape it.
But yeah, no. And so that email story, the next year in that co-op, during the orientation, one of the main like pastor guys of the church got up before us, somberly sat down. He's like, okay, you all are getting to the age, so now I think it's time we implement a no PDA rule in this place. And I'm like, dude, I know you did that because of me, and I'm proud of it.
That's...
You weren't even like PDA. You were
No,
saying
I wrote an email
Yeah.
that got traction and apparently poked the wasp nest.
You're the fucking hot shot.
Dude, I was
guarantee you there was a rumor that you were just going at it in the hallway.
So many rumors.
Pull the mic closer.
Pull the mic.
Yeah.
Better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Sorry about that.
No, dude, you're so good.
Yeah. Be sorry. That's offended me.
Practically be spitting on the thing.
Yeah.
The Huactua or whatever. You said that's what you like to do. Yeah. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that's
your
email story.
So your parents are Christians then?
They are.
Well, do you respect their faith or?
Oh yeah, 100%. My it's actually been a cool like transition coming from high school as a kid, looking up to my parents as like, you know, the overarching authority.
Mm-hmm.
And then now coming into college, being away from them, and it's like, oh, you know, my dad's just a dude.
Yeah.
He's a pretty chill dude.
Yeah.
And my mom's a mom who's going to have an identity crisis when my sister moves out.
I think that's been a big thing for me is now that ever since my dad left, right, the divorce happened, it's once the separation happens, it's especially now as a young man trying to figure out the world, it's really interesting how the maturity gap lessons.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of empathize more and or relate more, and they feel more like just another dude, like you're saying. And like in my case, it's more so understanding that I am also capable of the same mistakes that my father has fallen into.
Yeah. Right.
It's a big thing when it comes to forgiveness and giving him grace, even when he doesn't deserve it in the eyes of man. That's a super cool thought that you had.
Yeah,
cool.
Like I was telling you during the break about our trip to Sturgis, and I was with my dad and some of his work buddies, and we all, went down to Sturgis for the 84th annual bike rally.
Nice.
And it rode motorcycles around, had a ton of fun, and yeah, it was on that trip. It just kind of like I've known it for a couple of years, like hey, relationships are changing. Between us, but that Sturgis trip was like, hey, you know what? He's a pretty chill dude.
Heck yeah.
Pretty chill dude. We have some good conversations.
Cool, dude. I'm glad you had a cool dad.
He's just pretty cool.
That's rad. I like hearing about cool dads. I have a few friends that I've really loved their dads. Growing up without one, especially as soon as I hit puberty, my dad was kind of on the out. It's like a lot of men I have looked up to, and or especially growing up, any masculine man that I respected in any capacity, I watched what they were doing. I was trying to learn from them. I would want to be around them, especially wanting their attention. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I thought you were raising your hand for a question.
Yeah, nice to
You, John, in the back. Yeah, I have I was sharing with my friend Alex. Not you, another Alex. Yeah, sorry.
Common name.
It is a very common name.
Yes.
There was a chick in high school that I thought was pretty cute, and her name was Alex.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm not a chick. Sorry to disappoint you.
You're also pretty cute.
Oh. Ooh.
No? Okay.
Whoa.
You crossed the line.
Shoot, my bad. I got to use the double word so it's more serious.
Cute.
You're cute.
Oof.
Hey. Yeah, but my friend Alex's dad, I was at a birthday party, something like that. We were playing soccer. I guess this was back when my dad was still around, but I didn't have that comfort from my dad, right? That love. I experienced a whole new side of what a father figure should be, if that makes sense. Yeah. I was at his house playing soccer for his birthday party. Soccer ball went up in the air, hit me straight in the face, got a bloody nose, right? I'm out of it. Just dozed by a ball. Yeah. And his dad came over and guided me to the front of their house, the steps, the porch, sat me down. And then he had a paper towel or a towel or something, and he was dabbing my nose to get the blood and everything. And I just sat there looking at him as he's asking me if I'm okay and how I'm feeling and stuff like that. And it's what? Yeah. I never felt that from my own father. Yeah, dad. Yeah. And it's always really fun to reflect back and realize who I was doing that with, if that makes sense. Yeah. Because there are every now and then I'll think of another man in my life that influenced me in some way that I kind of looked up to. It's kind of it's fun. It's kind of cool.
It is interesting. Yeah. It's good to have mentors. Yes. In life. It really is. Yep.
I don't think you can get through life without them.
No.
Do you think humans can? I mean, Adam and Eve, imagine that. You're doing everything for the first time. Whew. Yeah. There is nobody before you to show you how to do things. Yeah. There is no school when you're the first two people on Earth. Unless they're not. I guess we were just discussing, what if they're not?
Yeah. I mean, we were talking about that. That is interesting.
Does it say that they were the first?
Says... It does not. It says God created Adam and put him in the Garden of Eden.
Interesting.
I wanted to say something about that earlier. There was, I heard that there's people or scientists claim that humanity started in South Africa, which is not anywhere near Mesopotamia, right? It's the whole continent width of Africa away from that.
Well, based off the rivers that it names, right? It's the Euphrates flows out of the Garden of Eden, the Nile, something like that.
No, it's the Tigris, Euphrates, the Pishon, and then there's one more.
And the Tigris and the Euphrates are the only ones that are still around?
Yes, technically. I watched a video on that, and I want to talk more about that later.
Okay.
Because it's so cool.
Okay, cool.
Anyway, man, since if we're gonna take the scientist's word for it, which so far they've been pretty right, except for about the whole God not existing part, you know, if humanity started in South Africa, it could make sense. The ones that God could have picked some to put into the garden, right?
Yeah,
they didn't have to be in Mesopotamia.
That's true.
You know.
Yeah, you're right.
And
Interesting.
And then that would have meant there were a lot more humans to then go and populate the earth.
Yeah.
Outside of the garden, to where there could be other cities and
a little bit more genes running around. It's not like a Bonner's Fairy Fest kind of thing. Yeah. Sorry to dog on your hometown, brother.
Hey,
it is really beautiful there. Let me say some nice things.
I dog on it too.
Anytime I've been there, I have enjoyed it. Like I've been up there for a few cross country meets. It's gorgeous. You know, it's Idaho. It's northern Idaho. It's my home. You know, I love it.
You know, the community there, like I said, is amazing. There are some interesting characters, but for the most part, everybody's really nice.
Not to single out Bonner's Ferry, I make fun of all the other small hick towns. And
hey, Pot Falls.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was laughing pretty hard when you said that to me at church.
Yeah.
I love hearing about all the different. Did you hear any rumors about Post Falls? Because everybody, especially around the area, all the high schools have their own stereotypes.
No, actually, I've the only thing I've heard is Pot Falls by the border and stuff like that.
Amen.
They didn't allow us to speak much of things in the co-op.
Oh, right. I guess. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Because there is like a public school for Bonner's Ferry.
There is, yes. Bonner's Ferry
High School.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you ever go to the Post Falls High School?
Nope.
I think it's one of the nicest schools around, I would argue. At least building-wise.
Yeah.
Now, there was maybe some crack in the locker room once or twice, but, it's...
there's a Taco Bell in Bonner's Ferry a long time ago, and it got shut down, and I've heard two stories of why it got shut down. One is it was wheeling and dealing weed through the drive-through window.
Heck yeah,
and
dude.
Two,
that's crazy.
They didn't use corporate-approved napkins.
What?
Yes. Those are the two stories I've heard.
What does that even mean?
I'm pretty sure I'm friends with the guy who worked at that taco. He was from also Bonner's Ferries. Javi.
Javier?
Yeah. Do you know Javi?
He was the drummer for the band I played in back in high school.
Do you know music?
Shit, that's connections.
Yeah.
Wow.
My net worth is increasing.
You're always one person away from people. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It was either him talking about, maybe that was another friend with meth being shipped out of the windows, but it was some fast food restaurant. Either him or another. It was either him or Sam who talked about one of the fast food restaurants shipping something out of the windows.
If Javi's my age, I'd be willing to bet he didn't work at Taco Bell, because that's been gone for a long time.
Oh, and Bonner's?
Bonner's, yeah.
Yeah, we're all the same age.
Yeah.
How old are you?
20.
I'm 21.
21?
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm already bald, so you'll be here for one more year.
Fall out. Baldness is a myth. It's just baldness.
You can see my hairline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What hair?
Well, you can see the hairline with the little frizzies that are still there. That I shave up. You can't? What were we talking about? Bonner's Ferry?
Bonner's Ferry, Pot Falls. Good times.
Good times. Pot Falls is... I love that school, honestly. High school, at least my high school experience, it was really fun.
Yeah.
I was not good at it, the schooling part of it. Like, I think literally I started YouTube 3 months before I graduated, and God decided to throw it at me and just be like, here, you're not going to go to college. And I had success very early on. And it was interesting because all of a sudden senioritis was already a thing.
Yeah.
But then especially I was like, well, I'm already making money. Why am I even here? I'm not going to go to college. So what's the point?
Yeah.
And then my mom was like, well, you got to finish high school. And I'm like, dang, all right, fine. But I think I totally failed my trigonometry class. And I think my pastor just passed me. What did I just say? My what?
Your pastor?
Not my pastor.
Your pastor passed you in trigonometry?
Yeah, I think I was switching up with the pass there.
What in the Bonner's Ferry is
my
that?
My pastor did nothing, yeah.
Dude was homeschooled. He was church school.
That would be... I've heard Real Life, the big mega church,
yeah,
has a huge schooling system. They literally have a school there.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah, and I've never heard anything good about it.
No,
I've heard only bad experiences.
That's just not practical in everyday life.
I think I would have enjoyed it going through like Bible school.
I think
maybe not. I don't know.
In my experiences with homeschooling and stuff like that, it's a double-edged sword. It really is.
Yeah.
Because you're raised up in good Christian communities, but the other thing that comes with good Christian communities is nobody wants to talk about things that aren't in Christianity. Like the option
mean, like
for
even struggles, like the sin part of it?
Even struggles, like
being
the
able
option
to be
for
open about what you are not like doing well with, if you will,
like,
or like there's less vulnerability.
You're less exposed. You're in your bubble. You're in your bubble.
Okay,
you live in your bubble, and when you get out of your bubble, you're screwed because you haven't been conditioned to live out of your bubble.
Well, that's why homeschoolers are usually weird.
Yeah. Exactly. That's why homeschoolers are weird. But
you, again, are still the most normal homeschooled kid I've ever met.
And I'm glad.
Yeah, good thing. You're on top of the ladder.
Kudos to my parents for that one. But yeah, like I said, it's a double-edged sword because you're raised in a fantastic community around good beliefs and stuff like that, but the conditioning isn't there for when you initially go into the real world. Like whether it's homeschooling, whether it's the Christian schooling from real life or something like that, like the options for exposure and conversations about exposure aren't there.
Yeah, dude, you're super right. Even now, I think growing up, I mean, American politics, it's super fun. It continues to grow more and more divisive.
It's a word for it.
Which I can get into my conspiracies about that, but the idea is that speaking about things that differ and or speaking about different beliefs continues to become a less and less common thing, or rather a less and less tolerated thing, especially within the public school system.
Yes.
Bonners Ferry, I'm sure most people are ideologically more similar.
For the most part. Where bigger cities tend to divide pretty quick, especially when a smaller city like Post Falls, red as it gets, is growing fast, and Californians are filling it up. Yeah.
There's quite the divide now.
Yeah.
Going through high school, it was really interesting because you'd see some, hard right Republican wearing his OCPs, his like military getup, with his American flag on his truck kind of thing, walking right next to a blue-haired leftist liberal chick. It's kind of very two stark differences. So politics was a massive no-no kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's kind of was an interesting thing for me coming to college because in Bonners Ferry, like you said, everybody's similar ideologies.
Yeah.
And for the most part, it's a right town.
It's Idaho.
It's northern Idaho. There's
we like our guns here.
Interesting people. The sign on the entrance to Bonners Ferry says "Welcome to Trump Country."
Yep, there you go. Yep.
I was gonna say, I hate that sign so much.
Yeah, welcome to Trump Country. But coming down to college for me, it was like we've only ever talked about one side of the politics.
Right, you get to hear the other one,
and I get to hear the other one. And the biggest lesson for me in freshman year was I needed to learn what I believed.
Yes.
Like that was the biggest one for me.
That's been my whole goal for my entire trying to figure out truth.
Yeah.
I've been seeking truth ever since I learned that what my father was telling me as truth is not something to be trusted.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, then I got to figure it out on my own.
Yeah.
It's
it's like because growing up I was like, raised Christian and right and all that stuff, red state, and coming to college, it's like, okay, this is what I was raised with. Do I believe it?
Right.
And going through that process.
Can you even defend it? Do you know?
Can I defend it? Do I know enough to defend it?
Can you articulate it in a manner that expresses your true values and beliefs? Right.
Yes.
Or are you just rattling off something you've been told
your entire life? Yeah. And that was
challenge those beliefs for sure.
That was the biggest lesson in freshman year for me.
Just rattling off stuff and people are like, actually you're wrong.
No, like I was never the guy to talk about that stuff.
Oh, okay.
I was
more of a listener.
I'm always more of a listener.
Yeah. Same until I started a podcast for some reason.
Same until I came on the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, hey, we can talk about stuff. It's cool.
Ballin', dude.
Yeah.
All right, let's. You want to wrap this up?
Sure, we can wrap it up.
This is Alex Stella. That's how you pronounce your last name, right?
Stella, yes.
Ballin'. You're stellar.
Stellar. Hey, thanks.
Hey, is that original or has anybody ever said that?
No, I don't think so. That's
original. Nice. So Alex Stellar, he is pretty stellar.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you have any closing remarks?
It's been a lot of fun. Thanks for having me on. Loved having it. Love talking with you.
Do you want to shout anything out?
Shout anything out.
Anything that like I potentially would like link in a description of the video, kind of thing.
No. I'm not big on social media or anything like that.
Perfect.
So,
all right.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for coming on. This was fun.
Love to come back sometime.
Cut.
What's up, guys?
Subscribe.
Yes.
Thanks for watching that episode. I hope you really enjoyed. I know we had a fun time making it. Please, if you really want to support us on Patreon, you will be getting the episodes a week ahead of time. So it's definitely worthwhile, or not. Or just support us, just support us, please.
We need money. You guys can find us on all the podcast platforms. Hopefully, by this point,
you will.
You will. So Spotify, Apple,
all of them.
You know, I guess YouTube, but not really. You know,
and YouTube.
So find us there. Enjoy it, and if you don't, I will find you.
He found me.
Yeah. Amen.
Save me.
All right.
I think that's kind of it.
Shit. Okay.
All right. Off to Denny's.
That's a damn good. Yeah.